Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live telecast of the Australian Online Supercar Championship, coming to you live tonight from Imola for the Rd18 Sprint. And your commentary team tonight is myself, Bernie Weemers, and Daniel Leet. Welcome, Daniel.
Around here at Imola, it's going to be a great night again, no doubt.
It definitely is, and I'm just having a look at our YouTube just to make sure that it is working out there. It seems to be. I'll just see if the viewers are actually getting us or not.
No worries. It's looking like we've got a great group of cars joining us tonight. I think we just had a quick look. We are upwards of nearly 60-odd entrants tonight, so the guys have turned out in force for this event, haven't they?
Oh, it's a massive turnout, as it always is in these AOSCs, and I tell you what, they had 62 first in, first served tonight, and it looks like the server's going to be absolutely full once again, and it's going to be awesome racing. Now, 40-80 though, it turns on the action, so we're going to have to be on the top of our game to make sure we bring the viewers as much of the action as we possibly can.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great little format that we'll see in this series. It's, as you say, 40-kilometre first race, 80k second race, which I think tonight, which we'll go into in a little bit later depth as well with the hot lap, is going to be between eight laps for race 1 and 16 for race 2. So it's going to be a bit of fun, and no doubt with this many cars on track as well, the guys are not going to want to give an inch for any of those positions.
Oh, exactly right. And let's start on the business end, though. Let's start with the driver points. We'll have a look at that, folks. Then we're going to have a look at the team points. After that, we're going to go to the not-so-hot lap and with Nick Hausler. So driver points is the first thing we'll look at coming into this round. So Marlon McMullen, he's still leading for PSS Chassis 1. He's sitting on 2,245 points, but I tell you what, it's closing very... well, it's getting a lot closer because Cooper Webster is 2,205 points in second for PSS Chassis 27. Then Thomas Hinds, he's sitting in third on 2,080 points. Brian Borg fourth. He's driving for Opticoat Laser Racing. He's on 1,640 points. And fifth is Kyle Stokes from FRA Motorsport, 1,467 points. So I'll tell you what, Daniel, the top two are definitely going to be duking it out for who's going to take the non-endurance drivers championship, and Thomas may even have a play into this depending how he goes tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we know Thomas has been pretty quick, and especially since he's made that change in teams, he's been further up the pointy end. So consistency is really strong for him. Obviously, we know how good Marlon and Cooper have been doing, especially from what we saw last week at Canada. We were Canada there. So Montreal, the guys did great. So for what we've got left in the points within that top 10, there's definitely a lot of room where the guys that are inside that 10 could potentially gain or lose a couple of spots depending on how they finish out this season.
Yeah, that's it. And it's all about consistency, and these 40-80s serve a very big part in making sure that the overall points are carried through, and they have to be on the top of their game. But looking at the endurance teams championship, folks, PSS Chassis 27, they're actually leading the way on 3,605 points. So that's Cooper Webster, Jamie McKnight, I think, drives with Cooper. FRA Motorsport in second, they're on 2,883 points, 722 points behind. Then PSS Chassis 1, that's the team Marlon McMullen's driving in. He's there on 2,780 points, so there's a good battle between second and third. And then further back, Watercraft Zuva Racing is in fourth on 1,649 points, and Opticoat Laser Racing fifth on 1,640 points. So there's still some good battles going on for second, third at the moment, as well as fourth, fifth, and further down through the points championship. Daniel.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the top three guys, or teams, in this championship race, sort of started to clear out a little bit now, but we still saw some great consistency, especially last week from, Jay McKnight and Cooper Webster, those guys had an awesome run in the back there. Probably the unlucky one in that one was the Watercraft Silver Racing guys. They were right up towards the sharp end at the back end of that race, and unfortunately couldn't quite bring it home. But they're not that far out of it, and we know I believe we're going to Enduro next week as well, so they've definitely got the pace and consistency. They should be able to bump themselves up that ladder as well.
Yeah, exactly right. So for the viewers watching, if you're wondering what it's all about, the non-endurance, that covers the 40-80s and the 150k sprints. Then we've got an endurance championship for drivers, and that's all the 650k events. And then we've got the overall team point score, which covers all the events.
Yeah, and it's a great little incentive for all these guys to sort of, not only do they work as an individual points driver placings, but they've got then the consideration of how the teams go in the long run. So the teams have really sort of stacked up some good drivers, very consistent between both themselves, and seem to be pretty comfortable on what the setups they like between them. So that's sort of really helping this championship battle unfold as well.
Oh, definitely. And you can see the drivers out there at the moment still doing their qualifying, or the final qualifying here. And before we get into that, let's go over to Nick Hausler and do, what's he call it, the not so hot lap? Is that the one?
Yeah, mate, the not so hot lap with Nick there. So it'll be a good one for the guys just to get a run through of how the V8s get around this Imola circuit tonight.
Yeah, so we'll get onto that now.
Well, welcome again to round 15 of the AOSC. Tonight we've got a 40-80 at Imola, so 1/8 and 1/16 lap race round this 4.9 12-turn track. We're joined today by Mark Samuel, who's going to give us a run around the track tonight in the Redback Racing LeBlanc Falcon. So big shout out to Mark for doing the lap for us tonight. Having a look at some of the track facts here. As we said, we got a 40-80, so 1/8 and 1/16 lap race. Fuel burn of 4 litres per lap with a fuel capacity of 50 litres. So no stop in race 1, and race 2 a very wide pit window. The earliest you can come in lap 4 and through to about lap 12. Just a bit like Gilles Villeneuve around here, I guess. Off tracks and slowdowns can play a big part in your race result. So you want to keep them to a minimum, especially in race 2, where that 15 incident limit may come into play. All right, so we're watching Mark here as he comes around turn 14 and 15 at Ravazza. Just about to start his lap. We're on the Grand Prix circuit, of course, so no chicane here. So here we go, jumping on board as we come across the start-finish line at about 250 kilometres an hour and head down into Tamburello, turns 2, 3 and 4. Heavy braking, good overtaking opportunity. Second gear, short shift up to 3 to minimise your wheel spin. And you want to get a good run along this short little chute so you're not susceptible to an overtake at Villeneuve, which can be ugly. Again, these are very easy to get slowdowns and the like at these corners. Heavy braking at Tosa, another overtaking opportunity. And then the big climb up the hill to turn 8 at Piratella. And have to be very careful on the throttle here. You can run it out fairly wide there without losing too much time, but as you come down to Aqua Minerale, off tracks and slowdowns are severe here. So Mark takes a nice line through there. You can't run too far out there on the left or you will get that slowdown. As we now head up to Variante Alta, you can be very aggressive on the first curb here, and Mark just jumps straight across him. Gee, the car handled that nicely as he gets the power down and surges back down to Ravazza. little lift and braking almost, or just before the apex there. Mark brakes as he comes into Ravazza again. Another tricky turn, that turn 14, very easy to run wide, and you've got to get a good run out of turn 15 to blast it back down the straight here and come across the line in a nice lap. Good job, Mark. Thanks very much for that, and we'll see you all tonight. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Yeah, so there you go. Thanks to Nick Hausler and Mark Samuels for putting together that hot lap video, and hopefully you found that all very entertaining and informative. But the takeaway for that, folks, is the first race tonight is the 40k length race. What Nick was saying there, it's going to be 8 laps in length. They're going to have 15 incident points and 1 fast repair. There will be no safety car, random safety car, unless there's an incident on the first lap, Daniel, and the likelihood of that could be fairly high as they come into the first chicane there.
Yeah, definitely. I think given we've got 53 odd cars out here tonight, there's certainly very high chance of that. I saw in the chat earlier, Simon Zane was saying he only got in there, put 1 lap in, and then got out of it. Probably not a bad move, given how congested it is. But yeah, the guys are going to have to be very careful with what they do around themselves at the start.
Oh, definitely. It's always very entertaining for the viewers, that's for sure, but quite frustrating for the drivers as they're out there at the moment. They're trying to find a gap. 54 drivers here tonight, folks, trying to find a gap and get a fast lap out. At the moment, though, if we look at the top 10 standings, we've got Brian Borg. He's sitting on provisional pole with a 1:43.153. Then we've got Michael Hammond in second, third Cooper Webster, fourth Luke Harvey, fifth Marlon McMullen. Then Steve Jansen sitting in sixth on a 1:43.589. Seventh Thomas McMillan. Sean Thompson on a 1:43.722, Ross Rizzo in ninth, and Christian Hinton rounds out the top 10 with a 1:43.993. So the whole top 10 is split by about 0.8 of a second at the moment.
Yeah, great to see so many cars so close together. I'm pretty excited to see the Laser Racing boys up at the sharp end in Brian Borg and Michael Hammond. It's good to see them back out on track. We haven't seen them in a few races, so doing very well there. But one guy I want to keep a good look on tonight is Ross Rizzo there from Trick Sim Sports. We don't normally see him in this series, but he's doing pretty good things in the V8, and it's good to see him changing up the cars from the traditional GTs that we see him in as well. So hopefully they'll have a good night, and the boys there will be hoping for a really good result as well.
Yeah, you can just see him coming up the back part of the circuit here, and in the Trick Sports, 9th quickest at the moment, so that's a good spot to start. In these sprint races, you really don't want to be mid-pack or behind, because that's where your race is going to come to an end pretty quickly if there's a pile-up.
Yeah, definitely. And, I was watching, I think it was Simon Zoma was saying that he did the 1 lap and got out of it. And looking at where he's sort of sitting in the grid here at the moment, he's down in 43rd, so not in the middle of the pack, quite a ways sort of towards the bottom end of it. But that could also come out and play a good part as well, in that he'll have a fair bit of room up ahead of himself to be able to see what's going on. And if there is an incident, get out of it and hopefully pick up those point or positions as a result of others having incidents. So it's probably not a bad way. I'd be a bit scared about being in the middle. I think the fingernails will be gone pretty early on though.
Yeah, I think so. Look, we can see Tyson McAvoy out here, 42nd quickest at the moment in the wheelie bins entry. I don't think we've seen Tyson out here recently either.
No, another new one to the series, so great to have Tyson on board there. And these cars take a while to get used to, so I don't know whether Tyson runs them officially in, say, the development series that we see some of the guys run on Tuesday nights and the likes, but all the laps he can do will be great for him, and we saw that last week. I think it was Mitch Campbell doing the solo run at Montreal there, and may not have finished on the lead lap, but all those laps you can do are all great experience, especially in this car.
Yeah, definitely. And welcome to Unwanted GU Patrol. He wanted to know if Scott McLaughlin, Cam Waters or Jamie Whincup were racing tonight. Well, we can't see Scotty out there. Sometimes he comes out, but he hasn't recently, has he, in the iRacing?
No, I haven't seen Scotty for a while, and I don't think I can remember actually the last time I saw the likes of Van Gisbergen and that out there. So obviously a lot of these guys use it as development tools and that, but yeah, haven't seen them really in this championship too often. But yeah, hopefully we might see him back out, especially as the level of racings can continue to grow as well.
Yeah, we saw Shane 3 weeks ago in the Speedway, I think it was. He's come out and raced there a few times, but not in the V8s. But just having a look at the moment, Jonathan Ben at the moment sitting 30th fastest for MFR, so he's going to be right in the middle of that mid-pack, and he's going to be chewing his nails, no doubt, when they line up in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And one guy who's probably going to get the nicest start off at the moment, or provisionally at the moment, has got to be Luke Harvey. He is the only one currently in a 142 range. So just topped the Laser Racing boys there. Got a 142.995. So that's a great lap for him. Yeah,
straight to provisional pole there. He's the only one in the 142s now. But saying that, he was 0.2 of a second or 1.5 of a second faster than Brian Borg. But that is still a pretty big gap, considering the top 10 was split by 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, definitely. And given how congested this track is at the moment, we've still got a lot of guys out there. That's a great time to have banged in, it looks like. We've also got Mullen starting to filter his way up to the top. Currently sitting P3 at the moment on 143.19. So he's managed to get himself in between those Laser Racing cars of Brian Borg and Michael Hammond. So that's a good job from him there as well.
Yeah, definitely. So speaking of Michael Hammond, we can see him out there and sitting in 4th position. Cooper Webster, young bloke, definitely keep an eye on this guy. A lot of talent behind the wheel of that car.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was evident last week as well. Yeah, had a great run there with Jamie McKnight, and those guys were right up in contention at the very end of that race. So certainly got a lot of consistency and speed under that car at the moment as well, which is really good to see.
It definitely is. Looking at the weather tonight, folks, it's mostly cloudy out there, 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on where you're viewing us from the world. So it's reasonably hot, but it shouldn't be too bad. 8 laps around here. They're not even going to really have time to work up a sweat. Well, yeah, they will.
Oh, look, I think they'll still work up a pretty decent sweat, even with that sort of track condition. It's going to be a fairly hard work out there for them. So, look for the guys at the front, obviously, still to extend that gap. Maybe not have to stress it as hard, but the big thing that's going to have to come in that we haven't spoken of yet is once race 1 finishes, we've got the reverse of the top 15. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye to see who can sort of sit on that bubble and take the provisional pole in race 2 when it kicks off.
Yeah, exactly right, and that will also bring a lot of excitement as the faster drivers try to get through that top 15. But let's start going through the grid, because it's a massive grid out here. It's going to take us a bit of time. So starting from provisional pole tonight will be Luke Harvey. He's got Marlon McMullen in 2nd next to him. 2nd row tonight will be Brian Borg out of 3rd. Michael Hammond for Laser Racing will start out of 4th. As we move back to the 3rd row, it's Cooper Webster in 5th, Jamie McKnight in 6th. They normally team up in the Enduros. They'll be sparring partners tonight. Going back to the 4th row, Ross Rizzo in 7th, Steve Jansen will start out of 8th. Out of 9th tonight, Thomas McMillan and Brett Loxton, he will start out of 10th. As we move back to 11th, we have Sean Thompson for Velocity Racing, and Daniel Williams will start out of 12th. Did you want to do the next 12, Daniel?
Sure, mate. Out of 13th tonight, we're going to have Greg Sharp, who's just jumped up to 13th. 14th will be Christian Hinton. 15th tonight will be Kyle Stokes and Leon Tander starting out of 16th. Jacob Knight will be starting from 17th tonight alongside Matt Muggleton in 18th. Paul Preston and Henry King will be in 19th and 20th respectively. We've got Harley Haber starting out of 21st tonight. David Kidmon will be out of 22nd. Brennan Jackson starting down in 23rd alongside Tyler Blackburn, so out of 24th tonight.
Yeah, looking down at 25th, we've got Kai Sloggett, and he's joined on the grid by Jackson Suzlin Harlow in 26th. Mark Samuel, we saw him doing the hot lap with Nick Hausler earlier. He's going to start out at 27th, and he's got Blake Purdy starting next to him in 28th. As we move down the grid, folks, out at 29th will be Mitchell Bales and Stephen Varga, also from Redback Racing Team, in 30th. 31st is Jonathan Benn. He's joined on the grid by Shannon Mason out of 32nd. Scott O'Keefe will start out of 33rd with Damien Charleston in 34th. Starting out of 35th tonight will be Nick Hausler and Bradley Ratu. He's going to start out of 36th.
Daniel Stevens will come out of 37th tonight with Adam Wyburton alongside him in 38th. Jamie Owens from 39th tonight alongside Joel Kenton out of 40th. Tony Gaffer and Tyson McKeevy out of 42nd, Daniel Vassell and Christian Smart in 43rd, 44th, Simon Mazzomo down in 45th alongside Shane Rayner in 46th, Kyle Bruns out of 47th tonight alongside Stephen Kirk in 48th, Robert Borden out of 49th tonight along with Mitchell Chapman there in 50th, Brett Woods out of 51st tonight, and the guys who haven't set a lap so far are Dane Warren, Jason Bentz and Craig Jones. So pretty good effort. We got through that one. That's a big grid for these guys tonight.
Yeah, we got through it just in time. You can see them all starting to grid up now, folks, and we're going to be racing here at Imola very soon. Remember, 8 laps here, 15 incident points, incident limit, for 1 fast repair, and no random safety cars. No pit stop required in this one, so it's pretty much going to be a run to the end.
Yeah, it sure will. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys manage to get these cars off the line. The guys at the back are going to have a hard time sort of seeing those starting grids, and it's kind of a good thing that iRacing has some virtual ones to help them get away here, but this field stretches quite a long way back.
Yeah, it certainly does, and I'm just trying to find the front of this huge grid. As you can see them lining up down there, folks.
Yeah, it looks like we're just waiting on our front couple of guys to take their spots at the moment. Luke Harvey hasn't jumped on the grid yet. Marlon McMullen's there, Brian Borg's there. So we've got most of the front up there. And these guys will be waiting right to that last second to keep as much starting temperature in those tyres as possible.
There we go, I've got a decent view. So you can see there Marlon McMullen, he'll be in the 85. We've got Luke Harvey there in the number 5. Just joined the grid now. Still waiting on Colin Bruns, Simon Mazzomo, Shane Rayner, Tony Gaffer, Steve Kirk, Joel Kenton, Daniel Vassell. Good to see Daniel out there having a run. We see him a lot in the Speedway. Robert Bowden and Tyson McAvoy. Doesn't look like we're going to see Jason out there. Or Dane. They haven't made the grid either.
No, not too sure what's happened. I don't think Craig's actually got himself out there either. So, actually, here we are. Craig has made his way out right at the back end of this one. So, the guys are getting ready now. The green flag will drop here in just a minute.
So if you've got any questions, folks, put them in the YouTube chat channel. We'll get to them as soon as we can. But revs are rising now, folks. We're in starters' hands, and we are underway here at Imola. Good start for Luke Harvey on the inside. Marlon McMullen, he's sitting on the outside of him as they come into the chicane for the first time. Hold on to your hats, folks. It's about to get interesting as Marlon McMullen goes on the outside to take first position. A great move there, but what's going on deeper in the field? So far, they've all got through cleanly here, Daniel.
Yeah, great driving from a lot of the guys at the back. I've just jumped back. We had a lot of guys 2 and 3 wide through that first set of chicanes, which was really good. Doesn't look like any major contact, and the guys have got themselves away pretty nicely there.
Yeah, they certainly have, and we can see now Luke Harvey's got the lead back. So as they go up the hill for the first time, we've got Luke Harvey leading Marlon McMullen, Brian Borg sitting in 3rd, Michael Hammond 4th, Jamie McKnight, keep an eye on him tonight. He's sitting in 5th, and expect some action from him as he tries to make his way through the field.
Yeah, we've already had a couple of position changes already on. Jamie McKnight's managed to get himself up to 5th now. Cooper Webster dropped the spot there. And looking a little bit further back, we've had some big moves already. Stephen Varga, actually Joel Kenton up 12 spots already. Daniel Stevens up 19. So these guys are really starting to move around at the back here and take up a few good spots.
So we see Luke Harvey there, gets it all sorts of wrong, and he's going to drop back as Marlon McMullen goes through. see Brian Borg also jumping on that opportunity. And one thing we see a lot in the GT3s here, we just saw it there, is take too much curb, it unsettles a car, and that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, absolutely. He just took that little bit too much curb, got it up on the AstroTurf at the end there, and did a good job just to keep it off the walls and pointing in the right direction. But he'll be disappointed. He's dropped quite a few spots there. He's sitting where we got him feeding back in here in 4th. So got a bit of work ahead of him now, but you know, he's pretty quick and consistent. He should be able to do that pretty easily.
Yeah, and Cooper Webster's moved up in to 5th position, and he's got just ahead of Jamie McKnight, the older person of the team, and the young guys are going to try and beat the master, so to speak.
Yeah, that was a bit of a change. We saw Jamie just get a bit of a jump early on, and they've just reversed spots. Looks like Ross Rizzo's lost himself a few positions there and dropped down to 14th, so not a great start for him. I'm not sure whether he got a slowdown penalty or not there, but he's dropped quite a few spots, and that'll be disappointing as well for that team.
You're on board here with Luke Harvey. As you can see him starting to work on the back. Michael Hammond, their 3rd gear, up to 4th as they come down the hill. Double right-hander onto the brakes. Down, what's he going to go down to 2nd gear, and back up the hill they go. That's another tricky part of the circuit there, isn't it, Daniel?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to be very careful not to run it too wide through there, and especially harder when you're following a car like this. And the guys make their run up through this top chicane here, get through pretty nice. Those laser cars look good over the bumps there, don't they?
They look really well settled, don't they? And that's what you need around here, because you have to use so much of the curb on those tight chicanes.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Luke Harvey's getting himself into a good little position here. Maybe going to get a nice run and use that draft down the front straight. Hopefully can move it up the inside into the first chicane there, but he's got a lot of work ahead of him still to do. Some of the guys back a bit further though are starting to squiggle around a bit, and where have we got Jamie still sitting up there in 6th at the moment, so most of these guys are still looking pretty good.
As we see now, Luke going on the inside of Michael Hammond there, deep under brakes. He's going to make that position up, and I'll tell you what, it looks like Cooper Webster is all over the back of Michael Hammond now. He can smell an opportunity and he's going to jump on it. Didn't quite work for him, but you can guarantee he'll be pushing on. Looking further down the field, just seeing if we've had a number of cars in through the pits already. We've had Matt Muggleton, Damien Charleston, Harley Haber, Tony Gaffin, Mitchell Chapman and Shannon Mason have all made way through the pits, so they've all had some sort of problem in the first lap or two. We're already a quarter of the way through this race and only 6 left.
Yeah, really starting to go very quick. Looks like Marlon's getting himself a nice little gap up the front here. Just a bit over a second over Brian Borg and Michael Hammond there. Luke Harvey's still sitting pretty comfortable in 3rd, but Cooper's really looking to now repeat that move that we just saw Luke do on Michael just a lap ago. So we'll see what he can do here. I think he'll be up pretty aggressively, maybe into the first set of chicanes again.
Yeah, and just on the bumper cam here at the moment, we'll see what he can do as he comes into Ravazza right up behind him. He really needs to set up coming out of here, doesn't he, to have a run on the inside, just what we saw Luke Harvey do last lap through.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can get the drive down, and especially given the length of this front straight, you can normally get a good little draft here, and if he's able to time the braking right, he should be able to slot it up the inside, but we just have to keep an eye on it. We know Cooper's going to be pretty aggressive there, and he certainly having a look as he just tries to stick it on the outside there, a bit of a tap as the boys enter turn 1.
Yeah, and right behind them, of course, is Jamie McKnight. He's just sitting there wondering when he's going to get the opportunity to pounce, and behind him is Thomas McMillan. A few of the viewers were saying Thomas was the one they were backing to win tonight. Well, he's sitting in 7th at the moment, and he will start from 7th if they finish as they are coming into race 2, because of course it's the top 15 reverse grid, and sitting in 15th is Paul Preston at the moment. He's looking, he's having a bit of a battle here with Henry King.
Yeah, good little battle there, starting to come up. Henry hasn't really let him go too much, but he's going to have to start being careful. He's got Ross Rizzo making his way back up the field, so not that far behind. They are passing, it was see the name was Jacob Knight there, dropping a couple of positions with Kyle Stokes. So these guys still a bit further back are battling quite hard at the moment.
Yeah, Jacob Knight there is reasonably new to V8 Supercars, driving for FRA Motorsports and having a good battle with Paul Preston. But meanwhile up front it is Marlon McMullen. The gap was 1.435. He's pretty much now in fresh air. As we see Luke Harvey, he's still battling on the back of Brian Borg here, and dropping off the back of them is Michael Hammond, Cooper Webster, and Jamie McKnight's now got his mirrors full with Thomas McMillan having a go at him.
Yeah, some great little battle packs starting to form up, especially from the guys behind. As you said, you know, Luke Harvey working hard. I think he might have actually got that job done on Brian Borg there as the guys come up on a bit of lap traffic, so that there's one pass there down. Cooper Webster still battling to get himself past Michael Hammond here and hasn't let this one go. A bit more bumping on the rear bumper there for these two as well.
Jamie McKnight, he runs wide there. That's cost him a position. I think he might have had an issue there with one of the cars lapped down. Sorry, folks. We're going to jump back and we'll have a look at that and see if we can pick up exactly what's happened to Jamie here. So we go back to the West End Mazda replay. No, he's pretty much done it himself there. He's outbraked himself. Very unusual to see Jamie make that sort of a mistake.
Yeah, I think he got a little bit balked there from, I think it was Scott O'Keefe just behind him, who was probably trying to get out of the way there, but maybe found himself just a little unsighted on turn entry, just missed his markers a bit further than he needed to.
Yeah, and as you were saying a moment ago there, Daniel, Luke has got past Brian Borg. He's now closing in at a great deal of knots on his old teammate Marlon McMullen.
Yeah, we'll hopefully see him get up there pretty quickly. It looks like they're making their way up pretty fast here, actually. That car's still a bit squirrely there for Luke, so might need to just soften something off just a touch or just look at the drive he's getting. But I'm still fixed on this battle here with Cooper and Michael. This one's going right down to the wire by the looks as well.
Yeah, Cooper's trying everything. He hasn't been able to pull it off now. He's going to try the outside, trying to outbrake him. So he's got the inside. They rub paint as they go through too wide. Cooper's into the wall.
Yeah, I think Cooper might have got a bit of a touch initially on the rear corner. He did carry a lot more speed on entry. There's another collision just as Cooper rejoined there. Who was that? I think it was Kyle Stokes running off. So not the best pass there, but I think he might have got a bit of help there.
Yeah, so let's have a look at this on the slow-mo. As Cooper turns in, he does come across the nose of Michael Hammond. Now we've got to change cameras. Here we go. And then that's pretty much unsettled Cooper. He's run across the grass, had nowhere to go, and got T-boned there by Michael, which pretty much ended his run straight off. He stayed off the wall, though, so that is good news.
Yeah, it also looks like there's been a little bit more of a collision here with Michael. He's got a lot of damage on that car. I think he's had also coming together there with Thomas McMillan out of the hairpin. So I don't know what's going on there, but his car is very second-hand right now.
Yeah, we're going to stay with this replay and just have a look at what has happened to Cooper. He was sitting there in front of a very angry battle pack. He's got Loxton in front of him. Thomas McMillan and Michael Hammond, that's what you're talking about. And they've decided they're going to take a leaf out of Formula One and gas it up across the track there.
Yeah, well, I guess if in doubt, throttle out was the meme that came out of that one. So not a great one, and Michael is pretty disappointed. He was in a good position there, and his night's gone from bad to worse as he's got that one up into the fence there at the bottom of the track.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him on our telemetry. There he is, because I want to take us back. Oh, look at that car, it's trashed. Let's try and jump back and see if we can pick up what's happened to them, and as they've come out of this chicane, folks. Let's go back a bit further. So as we can see, just coming out, yeah, Thomas McMillan got into the side of Michael, They were banging as they moved up, and then both of them heavily into the wall. As you can see, we saw the tail end of that mess. And then, of course, rejoining, sitting right in the middle of the track. You can see Michael's car's absolutely trashed. Rear suspension damage, and then he got another serve as the cars continued through. So that's the end of Michael's night as far as a top finish in this race goes.
Yeah, not a great way to finish that, especially from where he started. Obviously right up towards the front end. I'm just seeing where he was. I think it was third. We had him starting tonight, so that'll be pretty disappointing for him. But at the end of that, I mean, we've still got a great little battle going on up front here. Thomas McMullen and Luke Harvey. Marlon's actually let him through, so might have got a slowdown there. But Luke Harvey has regained the lead of this race.
I'd say he did get a slowdown, and he's had to step aside and let them through. But having a look as we come down to the last lap, folks, your race standings, top 10, Luke Harvey leading Marlon McMullen, third Brian Borg, Jamie McKnight, fifth is Daniel Williams, and sixth is Sean Thompson, Steve Jensen seventh, eighth Greg Sharp, ninth Jacob Knight, and Paul Preston rounds out your top 10.
Yeah, so good job there. Luke Harvey managing to get his way up. Looks like Marlon's still pressing on to try and come back here. I'm just going to see if we can go back a bit further. We have had a bit more shake-up in the top 10, though, as you said. Jamie McKnight managed to get himself up to fourth. Got Daniel Williams right behind him there in that Ratcorp car. Sean Thompson up from 11th to 6th at the moment, so that's a good recovery from him. With that Steve Jones getting past him at the moment, so some good battles still to finish out this race.
Yeah, and then the train behind them continues, doesn't it? And we've got Greg Sharp on the back, and then Jacob Knight here. He's got Paul Preston, Cooper Webster recovering down here in 11th. The good news for Cooper is he'll be starting out a 4th in race 2.
Yeah, and the man on the bubble at the moment, sitting in 15th currently, is Henry King. He's got a good little battle starting to form up here with Brett Loxton as they make their way up to this top final chicane. I think he might be pretty comfortable from David Kidmon behind him, so potentially we could see Henry taking pole position for race 2.
Fantastic, and here they come, folks. Last lap, Luke Harvey is going to take out race 1. McMullen right behind him. He got that slowdown at the wrong time. He could not recover from that. As we move further down, Brian Borg, he'll come home in third. Fourth is Jamie McKnight. He holds on in front of Daniel Williams. Then 6th position, Steve Jansen. 7th, Greg Sharp. 8th, Sean Thompson. Jacob Knight, he holds on to 9th position, just ahead of Cooper Webster. Cooper got 2 positions in that last couple of corners there. So he's, finishing 11th. 12th, Kyle Stokes. 13th, Ross Rizzo. Brett Loxton, 14th. And rounding out your top 15 is Henry King.
Yeah, good recovery from Ross there to get up towards the... back into near starting position. Some big moves for the night so far would have to be Robert Bowden up 28 spots along with Brett Woods. So those guys well up the order. Dane Warren up 24 spots as well. So we had some good moves from some of these guys.
Yeah, well, Dane started from the back, didn't he? He pretty much didn't set a time.
Yeah, that's right. Pretty much dead last. So I think himself and Craig Jones were right at the back end of this field. Where did Craig manage to get himself up to 36? Up 18 spots there for Craig, which wasn't a bad effort as well.
Yeah, really good effort considering you only got 8 laps to do your business around here. And I tell you what, though, there was some big hits there. One was the Hammond and McMillan, I think it was.
Yeah, definitely. That was a big one there. Pretty disappointing for Michael. He was having a really good run there, and I think a lot of that sort of seemed to sort of unsettle him when he had that issue there with Cooper, and we saw that first bit of contact into the chicane with himself and Cooper Webster there, and from there, the rest of that lap was a fairly big write-off. But you know, we know Michael's quick around this place, so hopefully come race 2, obviously he'll be starting a long way down, but he should have good car speed to get himself back up through the grid.
Yeah, I just saw Simon Mazzomo in the chat channel who's saying the driving standards are pretty bad tonight. So it sounds like the race control is going to have a very busy week once again in reviewing all the different incidents that have occurred in race 1. I know when they went to Zolder, Nick spent a very long time on both races trying to sort out all the incidents and the penalties people were going to serve.
Yeah, that's a hard one to do, especially with the way the series is scheduled. A lot of these 80-40 races, or especially the 150s, are all post-race review incident penalties. So it's a lot of work for the organisers to do afterwards. But when we get to the likes of the bigger enduros, which I think we've got one actually coming up next week at Phillip Island, they'll all be live stewarding. So it makes it a bit easier. The penalties get dished out on the spot, and racing continues. So for any of the guys, obviously, that do have their issues, they all lodge them online. And as you said, Nick does all the race reviews post-race as well. So a lot of time spent.
Yeah, he's got the committee behind him to help adjudicate as well to make sure it's fair and above board. But let's go through the race results of race 1 here tonight, folks, and we'll see who the biggest movers are. So Luke Harvey in the number 5 takes the win from Marlon McMullen, who finishes second. Looking at laps led, Marlon led the first 6, Luke the second 2. Brian Borg, he comes home in third with Jamie McKnight moving up 2 positions to finish in fourth. Fifth position was Daniel Williams. He moved up 7, so good start from him. Steve Jensen up 2 to go home in 6th. 7th was Greg Sharp, up 6 positions. 8th, Sean Thompson. 9th, Jacob Knight. 10th, Cooper Webster. 11th, Paul Preston. And rounding out your top 12 is Ross Rizzo.
Coming home in 13th was Kyle Stokes. 14th was Brett Loxton. Henry King on the bubble there in 15th, and he'll take pole position for race 2. We've got David Kidmon coming home in 16th tonight, followed by Thomas McMillan, who we saw having those earlier issues there with Michael Hammond in 17th. Kai Sloggett home in 18th tonight, with Leon Tander behind him in 19th. Blake Caperti was up 8 spots there to come home in 20th tonight, along with Mitchell Bales in 21st. Stephen Varga got himself home in 22nd, again up 8 spots, with Christian Hinton coming home in 23rd, down 9 positions from his starting grid. Adam Wyburton had a great run here, got home 24th, which was 14 positions up from his starting grid slot as well.
Yes, Adam's the biggest mover so far, but it continues here, folks. 25th, Jamie Owens, also up 14 positions. Jonathan Benn finishes in 26th. Craig Jones, a storming drive there, up 27 positions to finish 27th. Christian Smart finished 28th, up 16 positions. Bradley Ratu, 29th. 30th, Brendan Jackson. Simon Mazzomo comes home in 31st, followed by Shane Rayner in 32nd. 33rd, Steve Kirk, and then Joel Kenton, 34th. 35th tonight was Daniel Stevens, and Tyson McAvoy rounds out our top 36.
Coming home in 13th was Jackson Harlow. Robert Bowden got himself up 11 spots to 38th. Daniel Vassell was home 39th. Brett Woods up 11 spots to finish 40th. And then the start of actually Michael got himself home as well. So Michael 41st tonight, down 37 spots from start. Tony Gaffer in 42nd. Nick Hausler in 43rd. Scott O'Keefe in 44th. Simon Mason come home in 45th tonight. And then we had Dane Warren in 46th. Tyler Blackburn in 47th, Mark Samuels in 48th. Mitchell Chapman was 49th tonight, with Harley Haber in 50th. Matt Muggleton comes home in 51st, with Colin Bruins in 52nd, and rounding out the field was it Jamie Charleston there in 53rd. And one we missed, Jason Betts in 54th.
So looking at our biggest mover tonight, and congratulations goes to Craig Jones in the 111, up a storming 27 positions. That's awesome drive.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of that would have been helped, obviously, with some of those incidents we saw during the race. But, 27 spots is a great achievement there, and he'll look for big things, especially going into race 2 with a good starting spot also.
That's exactly right. And what's going to happen now, folks, is race control. They will be busy setting the grid for race 2 and just see when that serve is coming up. And that's going to be an interesting race. Top 15 reverse grid. 16 laps, expect 1 pit stop. It looks like that server might be up now.
Yeah, so we're just going to jump in for this one. So as you said, yeah, Bernie, we're up to 16 laps for this one. 1 mandatory pit stop, which will make the strategy a lot of fun. And I'm expecting probably a lot of our top running guys are going to want to take that stop as late as possible, or when they start sort of getting up and around some of the lap traffic, which we didn't obviously see in race 1 there. But it's going to be interesting to see, especially for the guys towards the back and where any of those incidents occur. They've only got the one incident fast repair that they can use, and they're going to want to be pretty careful as to where they want to run that.
Exactly right. So, folks, we're going to go to a quick advertising break here. And while we're setting up, why don't you go and get your favourite beverage and snack food or whatever you're eating tonight on a Friday night, and come back and join us in a couple of minutes. Hi folks, welcome back to RRTV's live coverage of the Imola 4080 here for the Australian Online Supercar Championship. As you can see, the drivers are just making their way back out on the track, and we'll be racing here once again very shortly.
Yeah, and it looks like we've got pretty much all our guys back in this one again, so we're going to have another big field to get our way through, especially on the starting grid, which will make for an interesting start to this race as well.
Yeah, it certainly will, and just bring up the lap counter and see how long they've got. 3 minutes and 35 seconds until the start of the next race, and we're probably not going to get through the whole grid this time because we can't start calling the grid, of course, till they start gridding up.
Yeah, that's it. Makes it a bit more fun at these types of things, so you don't have the time that you'd like to be able to do it, but the guys will be out there now just getting the last few changes set on the car. That we might see a couple of little tweaks that we didn't see in race 1. Maybe things like bars and some tyres, just to sort of give them that little bit of extra length but in the stint. But the guys are just going to want to go hammer and tongs and use every bit of tyre grip they can in this one as well.
Yeah, exactly right. And if you're wondering, folks, why you can't recognise the drivers well, Trading Paints at the moment is re-downloading all the skins, and that will take a little bit of time, and then we should see our favourite liveries popping up before our very eyes.
Yeah, it's always fun with that, but some of these cars out here tonight have been very well presented. A lot of these guys take a lot of pride, and same with the teams, in giving their sponsors a great rep. And bit of a shame that it always has to take so long to update on Trading Paints, but when it does, these things look very good out there at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it's taken a while. There's 52 paint schemes that has to download, and it can take a bit of time. You can see Cooper Webster now coming out. He's going to start from 4th tonight, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. I'd also be interested to see what he can do if he gets out in front, and if you can show them a clean set of heels, or what the story is going to be tonight.
Yeah, definitely. We know he's got the pace in that car, and it proved it when he was battling there with Michael Hammond. So look for him to be pretty quick, and if he can clear those guys in front of him off the grid, or I don't know, say turn lap 2 or thereabouts, he should be in pretty good stead to start walking away from the field. Not sure how the guys a little further down are going to go as far as car setup's concerned, to sort of give him that little bit of edge, but with the pace that Cooper's had in recent events, he should be pretty much near unstoppable from where he is.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting, and we can see if we can find some more Daniel Stevens out there. And we did a profile. He was our spotlight driver in the Cup Series about a week ago for the NASCAR, and it's great to see him back out in the V8 Supercar, his favourite car, as we were asking him, and this is his go-to racing event, racing category. But he's also very, very good in the NASCARs, which he's just started to take up in the last year or so.
Yeah, I'm still surprised at how many guys can jump between different cars and be so quick in it. I struggle at the best of times with just the one, and for the guys that are able to do it, got a lot of talent behind them, and it does help them in all categories that they get behind as well. It improves the racecraft and the quality of car control as well. So for the guys that are able to do it, I think it's a big advantage. I mean, some of these cars don't probably play as well as what you'd expect. So the V8s are completely different to what you'd expect in a GT or a downforce car like a P1 car or a Formula 1 car. But for the guys that can do it, it really helps benefit, especially in the long run and in all those different series as well.
Yeah, it certainly does. And one driver that comes to mind with jumping around categories and doing it well is Thomas Hines. And, we see him out here. I'm not sure if he's in the server at the moment. He was in race 1, but he does the V8 Supercars, the NASCARs, and quite a lot of other categories. We better start getting onto this grid because it's going to be a huge one, folks. So let's look at where your favourite driver is going to start from this evening. So starting from pole is Henry King. He's got Brett Loxton starting next to him. Kyle Stokes will start out of 3rd. 4th, Ross Rizzo. 5th, Paul Preston. 6th, Cooper Webster. 7th, Jacob Knight. 8th, Sean Thompson. Greg Sharp, 9th. 10th, Steve Jansen. Daniel Williams out of 11th. Jamie McKnight, 12th. 13th, Brian Borg. 14th, Marlon McMullen. 15th, Luke Harvey. 16th, David Kinmond. 17th is Thomas McMillan, and rounding out your top 18 is Kai Sloggett.
Yeah, we've got Leon Tander out of 19th with Blake Purdy out of 20th, Mitchell Bales in 21st, Stephen Varga in 22nd, Christian Hilton out of 23rd tonight, Adam Wyburton in 24th, Jamie Owens in 25th, and we will stop it there as we're about to go green here.
Green, green, green.
So here we go, folks, and straight 16 laps to go. You can see Henry King's got a good start, but how's it going to go when we get down into the first chicane? Hopefully as clean as race 1, and already there's some banging and barging going on. There's one car that looks like the Melbourne Taxi going off in the background. We've got another couple around as well.
Yeah, we're looking pretty good there. We've got a bit of 3 wide action here further down in the field. I'm just trying to work out who we saw going off early on in the piece, but I can't get any numbers at the moment.
Yes, as we jump back up, Henry King's showing them set of heels. Brett Loxton on the outside. He's already got Cooper Webster as they're almost 3 wide here, as Kyle Stokes also wants to get involved in this. So Webster up to 3rd. He just got past Stokes. He's now going to be starting to try and close on the back of Brett Loxton. Remember, a reverse grid here, folks, so the faster top 15, they'll be coming through the field of this race. You can see as they come through, Ross Rizzo 5th, 6th, Daniel Williams, Greg Sharp 7th, 8th, Brian Borg 9th is Steve Jansen, and Mullen McMullen is in 10th position at the moment.
Yeah, great job from Cooper there, getting himself up the running order. I think he's currently sitting, where is he? In 2nd here at the moment, so got himself a little bit of pressure there with Kai Stokes just behind him, but yeah, did a great job just to get up those couple of early spots early on that he needed to do.
Yeah, sitting there in 3rd position, but now he's got Kyle Stokes, Ross Rizzo in the Trick Motorsports. He's got on the back of them, and we can expect this to compress. Then behind them, Daniel Williams. He's got Greg Sharp behind him, Brian Borg, as we said, and 9th, Steve Jansen. Mullen McMullen in 10th, still trying to make inroads on the field and see what he can do. We can also see coming through there's Jamie McKnight as he goes up on 2 wheels and somehow makes that move on Thomas McMillan. No, he's lost it again.
Yeah, pushing hard there. Oh, who's that going around? Was that Sean Thompson there in the background?
I saw someone going off in the background. Yes, I think it could have been Sean.
Yeah, it's not a great one for him. If it is, he'll be disappointed in that one. But I think he's got that car back underway and recovered. Doesn't look like there's too much damage as we see that on the screen here at the moment. They should be all right there. But some good moves early on in this race. As you said, Brian Borg up 5 spots to be in 8th position as well. Daniel Williams up into 6th. So some guys already making it work. It looks like we've got 1 car in hits I'm showing as Christian Hilton there. So he's already gone a lap down at this point.
Yeah, we can see now Cooper Webster's just got past Henry King and he's made that move. Kyle Stokes did not get past Henry, so he's now got Ross Rizzo breathing down his neck. We saw Daniel Williams take a wide exit there. He's slotted in behind them. But here comes Ross Rizzo on Kyle Stokes under brakes into Ravazza. They go 2 wide, and we'll see if he can make this move as they come through back into camera view. And they're still 2 wide. And I'll tell you what, Daniel Williams, he's trying to work out where he can make a move, and he's wondering which horse he wants to back. Looks like he's going to not back either of them and try and go 3 wide here.
Jeez, you don't see that very often. 3 wide into that chicane is pretty hairy stuff there. Ross will want to pull that up as best he can. I think everyone's got themselves through there. Oh, Ross has lost it. That was insane, that little jostle there.
Yeah, so Ross Rizzo around. Jump back and have a look at that on the instant replay here, folks. And he did exactly what Jamie did, but this time around it's unsettled the car.
Yeah, it looked like he caught one of those little sausage curbs on the inside, got it up on the 2 wheels, and she's gone around. He's actually disconnected from the service, so not a great night for that entry. He was looking pretty strong there where he was battling as well. Yeah,
he was, and 14 laps remaining here, folks. Remember, there will be 1 pit stop tonight, compulsory stop for fuel. But as we're having a look now, Brett Loxton, he is still leading this race with Cooper Webster. A couple of cars in trouble there. The 92, Sean Thompson, he's being towed back to the pits. Scott O'Keefe in the 222, he's also in the pits at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like Scott O'Keefe, Brett Woods is in there as well. We know Ross is just disconnected from the session. Joel Kinton's come through for a stop. Daniel Stevens in there as well. So we've had quite a few guys come through. It also looks like Craig Jones is in for an early stop as well.
And we can see Kyle Stokes down there in 8th position now, so he's had some issues that lap as well. and Marlon McMullen, he's up to just moved into 8th position. So Marlon also having trouble getting through the field in this race.
Yeah, it's a hard one to do. We saw Marlon sort of struggle last time we had the 40-80 races. He found it kind of hard getting back up to the pointy end, but Marlon's very good with his racecraft and car control, so he should be okay pulling off a few moves. I think he might have got to slow down getting off the second chicane there, which has let a few guys through, but he should be able to recoup pretty well and get himself back underway. He's fighting with Brian Ball just in front of him, and these guys will go pretty hard, we know that.
Yeah, he's got Jamie McKnight on the inside of him, Luke Harvey, both of them now battling it out, trying to get past Marlon, but that slowdown in race 1 cost him the win, and it's looking like it's costing him dearly in race 2 for positions. But tell you what, Brett Loxton in the 209 doing an awesome job here as he's holding off Cooper Webster in the 34. Both of these guys are in the 143s. The others are in the 144, 145. So these two are absolutely on fire at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good advantage of having clear air. We see Brett run a little wide there, sort of opens the door for Cooper to get under him, and Cooper's going to get a nice run here up to the first chicane there. But yeah, the speed differential these two have got over the rest of the field is just on a second at the moment per lap, so they should be able to extend pretty nicely and get away. Henry King's still got himself a good little battle there with Daniel Williams as Cooper Webster goes up the inside. I think he'll get this job done pretty easily.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Made it look really easy and moves up to first position. A nice clean move, and we'll see what he can do now. But I'll tell you what, Brett's doing an awesome job there, hanging on the back, and he's not going to roll over and let him run away with this.
No, not at all. Good to see Brett getting up there. We don't really talk of him a lot in this series, but certainly shows he's got the car control and pace to keep pressuring the likes of Cooper Webster there. Henry King's got himself a bit of a gap now over Daniel Stevens behind, and Daniel's starting to come under a bit of pressure here from Kyle Stokes, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Greg Sharp's got a mirror full of Brian Ball behind him as well, so some really good battles starting to come up in the top 10. We've had a few more retirements as well by the looks. Simon Mazzomo, who was saying he hasn't had the best in the chat there, he's left the circle. Craig Jones is out as well as Sean Thompson, so disappointing night for those guys to be sure.
Yeah, meanwhile down in 11th we've got Jamie McKnight and Luke Harvey battling it out here. They're trying to get past Jacob Knight and Marlon McMullen, but both these guys, three of these cars, they're not making inroads. This is going to play right into the hands of Cooper Webster, who's leading this race, as well as Brett Loxton. They've got a nice comfortable gap now, and it's looking good for these two. As we go through further, we can see them now diving in the pits. Who was that? That looked like Henry King's dived into the pits, and Brian Borg has followed him. Yeah,
so we've got Henry King come down. Brian Borg, as you said, has come through. Mullen's jumped in here as well. Luke Harvey looks like he's also made his way into the lane as well. So a few guys getting those stops out pretty early on to what we sort of expected. You know, we're only working lap 6 here at the moment, and hopefully where they come out should give them pretty good track position overall.
Yeah, well, that's it. They're trying to get them out of that heavy traffic that they found themselves fighting in. Hopefully they'll get some fresh air and get some decent laps in and see if they can jump the field that way.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I'm sure a lot of these guys will want to take tyres. May also play into the guys at the back end of the circuit just to see, as we've got a couple rejoining now. Who's that? Luke Harvey and Mullen rejoining up onto the track here at the moment.
Yeah, so they're joining up at the rear. They've got the 017. That's Brian Ball just ahead of them. And looking at their pit times, Henry King did a 10.2. Brian Borg 2 seconds, 8.2 to Marlon McMullen, who's now battling it out with Brian here. He's making that move on the inside pretty easily. Luke Harvey, he did a 2.1 second stop. So as we're expecting, they're just throwing in the bare minimum to get them through.
Yeah, definitely. They won't need a huge amount to get themselves home. I think from what I heard earlier on, they're only going to need somewhere in the vicinity of about 15 to 20 litres of fuel. So it won't be much to do it, but everyone's going to have to come down at some point to make that stop there. But we're seeing up front Cooper Webster starting to extend that lead now for Brett Loxton. That's gap has gone out to 1.5 seconds at the moment. Daniel Williams has got himself into a good little battle here with Kyle Stokes just behind them. And Greg Sharp and Steve Jansen are still having a battle. Looks like Greg's managed to just get that pass taken.
Yeah, we can see Steve now having a look on the inside of Greg Sharp as they go too wide into the chicane. We'll see what Steve can do here. He's going to go for the undercut. See now if he goes and has a dive on the inside here. No, he doesn't, because Greg Sharp breaks a bit early, holds him out there. You can see Steve now spinning the tyres as they try to get grip coming up the hill. In the background's Jamie McKnight. He's in fresh air now as well, and he can try and get some fast times out before he brings that in for service.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was a good job there from Greg. Just sort of held that car a bit wide, made it a bit more difficult there for Steve Jansen to get by. But no doubt in the chat, Craig's going to be cheering his man on, Steve. So look for them to get a pass as we can jump on board now to watch these guys get through the chicane.
Yeah, riding with Steve Jansen here and down to first gear, and short shifts up to second, third, fourth, up to 215 kilometres and climbing. We'll try and get a top speed. 232k an hour was a top speed as it come down into Ravassa.
Yeah, he's a little bit squirrely on exit there, which gives Greg just a bit of a chance to get away. So he'll just need to settle that right foot down a bit, but that car's looking very quick tonight and competitive, so good to see Steve having a great run. A little further back, still got Jamie McKnight just sitting there in 7th with a fair bit of room ahead of him. Who was that coming out? Actually, we've had Kyle Stokes and Thomas McMillan come down for their stops as well, so it looks like a lot of these guys are starting to blink and take their stops.
Yeah, Cooper Webster, he's also in, taking his stop now. Kyle Stokes is in, Daniel Williams is in as well. And Cooper's coming out 10.5 seconds was his stop, as we can see them now leaving pit lane. Who else? Daniel Williams, 10.1 seconds. Kyle Stokes, 11.8. Thomas McMillan, 10.3. Very busy down here in pit road at the moment.
Yeah, Michael Hammond's in there as well. He was up 22 spots currently, so good drive from him coming from that far down in the grid. That was a 13-second stop. But a lot of these guys look to only be around that 10 to 13-second stop to get this one over the line.
And just trying to work out where's Brett Loxton. He's out there. I can't, on the wrong camera, that's why I can't see him. So Brett Loxton did not come in. He's in last lap, the 144s. Most of the other guys are in the 146s, so he's still putting in some blistering times here, and he could be looking at snatching a victory here tonight. Let's see if he's going to come in. No, he does not. He stays out and continues on.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a hard one to sort of gamble. At the moment, he's sort of running down that fuel load, so the car's going to be starting to get to its quickest, and if he continues on with the pace that he's doing in the 44.7s, should be able to reclaim that gap. Looks like we've also got Greg Sharp making his way in, and I think that was Jamie McKnight following him in as well, so a couple of more guys coming out of this this cycle here. But yeah, I think Brett's doing the right thing, using that tyre advantage while he still can.
See Daniel Vassell now diving into the pits to also take service. Nick Hausler continues out, and who's that coming in? Tony Gaffer also coming in to take service. Shane Rayner, he'll be the next one coming through. We'll see if he takes service. No, he's continuing on, but he's going to want a fast repair as soon as he can. Looking at your top 10, folks, as they stand, Brett Loxton leads Steve Jansen by 8.4 seconds. Both of these guys have not stopped. Stephen Vargas sitting in third with Nick Hausler fourth, and fifth is Mark Samuel. All those guys did not stop. The first of the stoppers is Cooper Webster, and Cooper's going backwards here, so we better jump and see what's going on with Cooper. It looks like he's timed out. Where is he?
Yeah, I've still got Cooper going around. We just see him coming through shot there,
Okay.
making his way up the hill. So maybe just hasn't quite got the tyres where he needs them at the moment. I was keeping an eye on Greg Sharp as they made their way out from their stop, and they were coming under a lot of traffic here, so it's really opened the door for Jamie McKnight to sort of get into a good position here. It looks like Brett Loxton's still out for another lap as well, but there's a good little fight here with Greg Sharp and Jamie McKnight that we might jump on board with and check out as well. These guys both have already made their pit stops, so don't need to come back in again, but Jamie pressuring really hard here on the back of that Penrite entry.
Yeah, we're just looking at the bumper cam from Greg Sharp there, back to Jamie McKnight, and you can see Jacob Knight just behind him. Jacob's having a good run tonight as well.
Yeah, definitely. We got Jacob's currently down 7 spots from where he first started, obviously with the reverse grid, but still in pretty good contention overall. Looks like we haven't had any more guys jump for the lane yet. They're all still out there as well, but yeah, good effort for Jacob there to still be pressuring on. Looks like Greg's been able to extend that bit of a lead over Jamie McKnight as well.
Yeah, he's just got the foot down there and starting to extend that lead for sure. But the gap from Brett Loxton as he continues, he's coming up on Brian Borg now to put him down a lap. And I guess with Brett, he was one of the fastest last lap through, but 1:44.822. He was just a bit slower than Steve Jansen, 8.4 seconds down the track. So I think Brett's trying to extend that gap to try to come out in a really good position here. But we'll see what he can do as Brian Ball gets it all crossed up. Brett Loxton continues on.
Yeah, I think that might be a bit of a bad call there for Brett to continue on at this point, but one guy I'm still keeping an eye on is Cooper Webster. He's currently back in 3rd position at the moment. Last lap by was a 1:43.5, so that car's very well set up. Steve Jansen's come down for his stop now. So that only leaves us with about 3 or 4 cars here who haven't stopped. So Brett Loxton's still out there just coming for his stop. Stephen Varga, Shane Rayner and Mark Samuel still need to come in for their stops. We've got Nick Hauser, looks like he's got to come in for his still. So still a bit of a change here as we see Nick jumping for the lane right now.
Yeah, we see Cooper Webster, Mark Samuel, they both have, as Cooper's moving up into 4th position as the others are stopping, and Mark Samuel has not stopped. So Cooper's looking good at the moment in 4th because all the guys in front of him have to stop. He is 38.6 seconds from the lead, so he should take that lead back once the others pull in.
Yeah, definitely. I think the quickest stop time that we've seen so far is Steve Jansen here, 39 seconds. So looking at the gap distance, should pretty comfortably see Cooper Webster take the lead of this race as he goes up under, who was that, Mark Samuels, I think it was there, and that's a change for position as well.
Yeah, that's Mark Samuel. He did our hot lap tonight and he moves down to 4th. Mark still has to stop though. If we look at the ones that have stopped, Cooper's 3rd, 5th is Daniel Williams. He should move into 2nd position as these others take their stops. Luke Harvey, he did a really short stop. 2.1 seconds of fuel went into that car and that got him into 6th position. That will move him up to about 3rd. Marlon McMullen coming very early with Luke. That looks like it's paid off because he should move up to around about 4th or 5th position.
Yeah, we've still got Brett Loxton going around again, so he's still out front. Stephen Varga up in 2nd at the moment, hasn't come in for his stop, so we might see him come down a bit sooner, but good little battles forming up on screen here. We've got Henry King, Kyle Stokes, Greg Sharp getting in on that, Jamie McKnight. It's a good little train of cars here.
It certainly is, and Steve Jansen there still defending from Jamie, and he's putting the blowtorch on the back of Sharp, and we've also got Jacob Knight and Thomas McMillan in the back of this big gravy train.
Yeah, definitely. I think looking at the pace, Henry's still got a bit more over the top of these guys. Greg's getting real aggressive here. Look for a move up the inside, and we got 3 cars sideways. I think Henry's just been avoided there, luckily.
Yeah, and Jamie's coming back on, but he's going to step aside, let all these guys through as Jacob Knight nearly rear-ended him. And Kyle Stokes, that was good sportsmanship. They all backed off and let Kyle back in there.
Yeah, definitely. I think good effort all around. Greg maybe got a little bit hot in there, was able to recover it. Good luck, or good avoidance for everyone, as you say, letting everyone get back into line. But that's really opened the door here for Thomas McMillan on the back of Jacob. Now, those guys are sort of fallen off a little bit, but who we got up further? I think that's Steve Jansen going up the inside of Kai Stokes at the moment. So it's a great little battle.
Yeah, and right behind them is Jamie McKnight, wondering which horse to back. Well, he's just going to throw it up the inside there and take out Jansen, and that's cost both of them a good position finish there.
Yeah, it did. I was surprised to see Jacob and Thomas manage to get through. I think they might have got a little bit of damage as a result of that. Looks like Brett Loxton's coming for his stop as well, so we'll have to keep an eye on where he feeds back into this fray now. Haven't got any update on my timing yet, but that'll actually put... I know Steve Vargas coming for his stop as well, so looks like our remaining guys have all stopped now. Cooper Webster should take control of the lead of this race.
Yeah, he does, as we see Brett Loxton just feeding out behind him. Brett's still coming out in second position ahead of Daniel Williams, though, and he's got quite a substantial gap, so that staying out that amount of time has worked for Brett Loxton.
Yeah, he's done a good effort there. He'll be happy to jump back to where he has in second. That's still a great result for that team, and Brett will be over the moon with that, no doubt, as well. Where have we got further down? Henry King's extended the gap now over Kyle Stokes. Thomas McMillan up the outside of Jacob Knight, and those guys are going side by side through that chicane as we picked up the feed for that now. And looks like Jacob got a little bit sideways on exit there.
Tell you what, this is an angry battle pack, isn't it? They're trading blows here. We can see Jacob now, he's trying the crossover here, but I'm not sure if that's going to work, as you can feel the temperature rising, taking the inside through this sweeper, and still side by side, that's Jacob Knight, Greg Sharp, and Thomas McMillan involved in this. Right behind them, David Kinmont and Steve Jansen.
Yeah, and Jacob Knight's managing to get himself back up on the, or Jamie McKnight, sorry, getting himself on the back of this battle as well. So those guys that we saw a lap ago just getting into a little bit of difficulty back into the fight here, and blowtorches being applied all over the place. I think Jamie's probably in the pick of the seats for any of these guys if they do have any more issues, but looks like everyone's sort of set him out. Greg's probably going to have another crack here very soon on Jacob as well.
And Jamie redressed that with Steve Jansen there, who's tucked in behind him, which is great to see. And meanwhile, Jacob Knight up here, he's just dropping off the back a little bit of Thomas McMillan as they get some fresh air, all take a breather, and we have 3 laps remaining at the moment. Cooper Webster, he's leading 3.6 seconds. Brett Loxton, he's just gone past, was that Nick Hausler that he might have just put down a lap, the number 27.
That was Mitchell Chapman there, so Mitch has dropped a lap off on that one, so that's not too bad.
So Marlon is now on the back of Luke Harvey, and these finished 1 and 2 in race 1. At the moment they're running 4th, 5th respectively in race 2.
Yeah, we still got that battle here with Jacob and Thomas going side by side again. Greg getting under all sorts of pressure here. David Kidmont is behind him and Steve Jansen. So these guys are pretty much lapping this circuit now. It's 2 by 2 and not giving an inch at all. Jay McKnight just sitting back here watching as well. But this could also bring up Paul Preston, who's not that far off the back of this pack. We see this in the back of frame there. Could potentially grab a couple of spots late in the race as Jamie gets a bit more action with David Kidmont.
Yeah, I was going to say... they're running 2 by 2, and I think Jamie wants to be like Moses and part the oceans in front of him to move through, but he's having a bit of a battle with that. We saw he's got past Kinmond now, and through that hip and shoulder move that we just saw happen. But at the moment though, Jacob Knight, he's having a great battle with Greg Sharp here, and Jacob's really battling hard and doing a great job.
Yeah, still bringing Steve Jansen along with this one as well. So these three haven't really let off at all from each other. If anything, it's maybe opened the door for Thomas just to sort of stretch the legs a little bit here. But Jacob is going to have a pretty tough 2 laps here to keep these guys behind him.
Yeah, he definitely will, but I think he's up for the battle.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we're going to have another little battle for a bit further up here with Daniel Williams and Luke Harvey for 3rd and 4th. These guys are pretty close as well, so may see another change of position here for the podium.
Yeah, meanwhile, these guys are 5 seconds up the road from Brett Loxton, who is 3 seconds up the road from Cooper Webster. So I think there'll be a change of podium here, but I think Brett and Cooper are going to be safe as long as nothing goes wrong with their drive.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing we have to keep our eye on is there is any contact between these two as well. You got Marlon McMullen just sitting in behind these guys as well, so look for a change of position. If he gets a sniff as well, he'll be up for it. We just saw Luke there with a bit of a swiggle getting out of the back of that chicane, lets Daniel just extend the gap a bit more, but he brings it right back down again under brakes.
Yes, as we've got 2 laps remaining, folks, here's your top 10. We've got Cooper Webster 3.1 seconds in front of Brett Loxton. Then 2 seconds behind Brett is Daniel Williams, Luke Harvey and Marlon McMullen. That's your battle pack there. Henry King, he's sitting in 6th position with Kyle Stokes in 7th. 8th is Thomas McMillan. And then the angry battle pack is coming through. That is Jacob Knight battling it out with Thomas McMillan here. And he's got Greg Sharp behind him. That's your top 10 as we come into the last lap now.
Yeah, Jamie McKnight, Steve Jansen sitting back, probably keeping a good eye on this as they're too wide into the start of the chicane there. Greg Sharp right on the back of Jacob. Looks like Thomas got a bit of a bad exit there. You might even see a change of position with Greg trying to go around the outside. So I don't know where you look, who you put your bets on. I'd love to see who the viewers want to see get up in this and see Greg just get past there as well.
Yeah, it's tell you what, these guys are all going to come out sweating and feeling like they've had a hard race here. As we can see, Greg Sharp, Jacob Knight now trading paint as they come up the hill for the last time. And who's that? That's Greg Sharp's taken 2 positions there. Jacob Knight runs wide. Steve Jansen's coming into this. Keep an eye on Jamie McKnight as we're coming into the favourite part of the circuit. See if he can make it up. He does on Steve Jansen. He moves up. Thomas McMillan into Jacob Knight. We better jump up the front. This is getting a bit scary as we see Cooper Webster coming across to take the win tonight. Well done to Cooper Webster. Great drive. Brett Loxton, absolutely awesome drive for the 209, coming home in 2nd. 3rd is Daniel Williams, battling it out with Marlon McMullen, who just tucks in to settle in 4th position. Luke Harvey, don't know what happened to Luke there, but he's down into 5th, so I'd say he's had some sort of slowdown or off. Henry King 6th, 7th Kyle Stokes, 8th is Greg Sharp. Now Jacob Knight 9th, Jamie McKnight. We're going to have to go back and have a look at that because he's up to 10th position.
Yeah, it looks like Thomas McMillan got a bit of a touch up there. I think it might have been on re-entry with Greg just before the guys head up the hill. Looks like there was a bit of contact there, but not sure what happened at the end. I think he may have even run this car off the road. So battle pack was pretty intense at the end of that.
Yeah, so Jamie's served David Kimbond into the fence there. So that's where David went. Now, what's happening? There's a lock-up in front of them.
I have a feeling that might have been Thomas actually going off. Yeah, he had it all crossed up and sideways spinning off the track there. So that explains what happened to Thomas there. And looks like we had then Greg get home, followed by Jacob, Jamie, Paul, Steve Jansen, and then Thomas McMillan in 13.
Yeah, so what a race that was.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Some guys put on some really good battles. A good lot of respect and redress to see Tyson McAvoy there. Who was that he got into the side of? It was a orange car there. And that gets us home for 16 laps here at Imola.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The tradition, fast becoming the tradition in the Australian-New Zealand club is at the end of the race they run into each other and trash their cars and do their drifting and all that. The only thing that confuses me is in my day when I was young, you generally took someone out if you were angry with them. These days they find their favourite friend and run into them.
Yeah, or jumping off something at the end of the track. So, no, look, I think the guys that were in there tonight put up some great battles, and why not? You know, after that bit of hard rubbing, I'm sure they're not going to complain about a bit of touch up at the end.
Yeah, the winner tonight, folks, is Cooper Webster, as we can see him now coming in, leading the field back into the pit lane. Steve Jansen behind him, Jacob Knight behind him. But let's go through the full results here tonight so you can see where your favourite driver is finishing. Who's that? The 27 doing burnouts in pit road. My goodness me. All right, I'm starting to sound like an old fuddy-duddy now.
You're right, buddy. No worries at all.
Yeah, so great drives go. Cooper Webster started fourth, comes home with the win, led 6 of the 16 laps. Brett Loxton, he had an awesome drive, led for most of that race, 9 laps, came back out and held on to second position. Third went to Daniel Williams. Fourth, Marlon McMullen, up 10 positions. Luke Harvey also up 10 positions to finish in fifth. Sixth, Henry King. Seventh, Kyle Stokes. Eighth, Greg Sharp. Ninth, Jacob Knight. 10th, Jamie McKnight. 11th, Paul Preston. And rounding out your top 12 is Steve Jansen.
Coming home in 13th tonight, we had Thomas McMillan, followed by Harley Haber in 14th. Brendan Jackson up into 13th, and that's up 15 spots. That's a good move. Harley up 35. Michael Hammond found himself up in 16th and up 25 spots from where he started tonight. Adam Wyburton home in 17th. Blake Purdy up in 18th. Christian Smart come home in 19th tonight. Kai Sloggett down in 20th. David Kidwin, who we saw having a bit of a serve at the end there, comes home in 21st, behind, just in front of Stephen Varga. Jamie Owens in 23rd, and Mark Samuels in 24th.
You're coming home in 25th and up 18 positions was Nick Hausler. Jason Bentz up 27 positions to come home in 26th. Leon Tander finishes in 27th. Tyler Blackburn, another mover, up 18 positions to finish in 28th. Jackson Suzlin Harlow, he finishes in 29th with Tony Gaffer in 30th. Bradley Ratu finishes in 31st. Tyson McAvoy, he finished in 32nd, and that was... not sure who just blew their motor. It was one of the Pagnian cars. One of your drivers there, Daniel. Where was I? 33rd, Damien Charleston, up 19 positions. 34th, Daniel Vassell. 35th, Shannon Mason. And rounding out your top 36 was Robert Bowden.
Coming home in 37th was Jonathan Benn, followed by Shane Rayner in 38th. Daniel Stevens got home in 39th with Stephen Kirk in 40th. Mitchell Chapman, who we saw go down a lap early on in the piece, come home 41st with Christian Hilton behind him in 42nd. Brian Borg home in 43rd tonight with Matt Muggleton in 44th. Joel Kinton come home tonight in 45th with Mitchell Bales behind him in 46th. Colin Bruns home in 47th. Ross Rizzo, who we saw disconnect early on, finished in 48th tonight. 49th, and now we're down in our retirement range, was Sean Thompson. Craig Jones in 50th. Brett Woods in 41st. Simon Mazzomo in 52nd. And Scott O'Keefe in 53rd. And that's the end of our list.
Yeah, so looking at the biggest mover, that I think Harley Haber was up 35 positions in 14th. Was there any other... that definitely looks like the biggest mover in race 2, Harley Haber.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great drive there, up 35 spots. I think the guys next behind him would have been Jason Bentz, up 27, and we didn't really see anything of Jason out there tonight, and Michael Hammond as well, up 25 spots. Probably the biggest loser tonight would probably go to Brian Borg, down 30 spots from where he first started. Yeah,
I'm just having a look. Yep. Just want to look at that. I reckon the drive of that race, though, would have to go to Brett Loxton. It was a reverse grid. He started in second, pretty much led the race, and held that second position at the end. So I think that might have surprised a few of the faster guys behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. He had some great consistency in that car, and running long didn't seem to really hurt him like we were probably expecting it would have. So, yeah, I think, as you said, Brett Loxton probably got the drive of the night and did well deserved for him as well.
Yeah, definitely. It was a really good drive. So we're going to bring some guys up to have a chat. I guess we should bring up, should we go for the old guy or the young guy?
Look, I'm not going to play favourites, mate. I'll let you decide.
All right, let's bring up Marlon McMullen first, and then we'll bring Cooper Webster, our race winner, up second. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Hi, Marlon. Welcome to RRTV's Combox, mate. Pretty interesting race for you, the second race there. It looked like you're in quite a battle for the most of it, and it looked like you were making or finding it difficult to make inroads.
I was playing the cautious game because I don't know what the deal is with the championship, so I didn't want to hit anyone, get any penalties, and get taken out myself. So I just sort of sat there and watched, really, and it paid off well. I mean, 14th to 4th. I'm not too upset about that. Had a bit more pace in the car though, but you can't risk it.
No, it looked like your pit strategy was what you're really counting on to get through that angry pack, and that seemed to have worked very well for you and Luke Harvey, who would have finished just behind you, I think.
Yeah, I thought about. I was thinking before the race, could I fuel save the whole thing and negate the pit stop? But I went against it, because I got to push. But you don't want to push too hard, and so I thought I'd save a little bit of fuel, and if I could sort of jump those guys in the mid pack, pit early, get the undercut, it really sort of paid off. And I was sitting up there and fifth or something, and yeah, as I said, you don't want to take too much risks from there on out, because getting through all that already, it's such an achievement. The last couple of sprint rounds. So last round, I didn't get through it at all at Zolder, and I got disqualified on lap 6, which was annoying. So I don't know what's going off the points, but we'll find out soon.
Yeah, I can. We can bring those up. I don't know what the latest points are, but did you know what the points were coming into this?
They were close with Cooper, but I'm talking now with Nick, and he's doing the numbers behind the scenes.
Yeah, 40 points was the gap between yourself and Cooper coming into this. So Cooper took the win in that one. You came home 4th, so that'll conserve some points. But we'll have to wait and see what Nick comes out with. But
coming second in the first race, and he came, I think, 10th or 13th, so he's lost a bit there. It's pretty tight.
It is really tight. But as far as race 2 goes, the racing out there, a lot of people were racing for sheep stations. Did you have any issues with any drivers out there, or did you have any coming together or anything that was a bit scary for you?
No, not really. In the first race, I think coming out of pits, one of the guys who came out of pits didn't know where to park the car, and nearly went clouding up the rear of him, and that's just one of those sort of things. But that's where you got to sort of watch out, because around I think Luke and I and some of the top guys in the quali, a couple of seconds, to some of the other guys back. So you got to really think about when they're going to brake and how you're going to sort of construct your move. And I got away with that one, but in the second race, you just got to sort of keep to your own, just go around avenues which you don't think are going to work usually, and then all of a sudden you popped out the other side 2 or 3 positions, and then just watch all the other guys go off in front of you and try to save a bit of fuel. And if you can get up into the top 5, it's better than where you started 14th. So.
Oh, exactly right. No, it was a good drive. I'm going to hand you over to Daniel Leet now and see if he's got any more questions for you, Marlon.
I've just found out the points as well.
Okay. What is it?
I'll send it to you.
Okay. It doesn't sound good if you're going to send it to me.
Okay,
Poor choice of word. Okay.
Congratulations on the 4th, buddy. Hey, just a couple of quick questions just before we let you get out here and go celebrate with Cooper and that, mate. It looked like you had yourself a great little battle there with Daniel Williams at the end, and he just pipped you on the line. How were you finding the tyres, obviously coming in, doing that early stop? Did you find you still haven't had enough to battle with at the back end of the race as well?
I got to admit, I was saving a ton of fuel because, I mean, to sort of jump all those guys, I got to admit, Luke had really good brakes. So he was doing an exquisite job. He's got a lot more pace than me around here. But I was just trying to save as much fuel as I could to jump that, if you want to call like a hornet nest of a pack. You don't want to be around them because, you can lose 10 seconds or so to the car, in front of you. And I think coming out of the pits and all that, Henry was about 10 seconds behind me. So I just knew when I was battling Luke and Daniel, just let them do their own sort of thing, save as much fuel as I could. Tyres were pretty good towards the end. Obviously, I was able to catch up that sort of last gap, but it was the fuel that was, in the back of my mind. And I was trying to save, at least half a litre to do a burnout at the end.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess the only other question I've got probably goes all the way back to start is starting a bit further down in the likes of these reverse grid races. How did you find you sort of getting yourself through with all those cars around you, especially heading into that chicane, which we know is notorious, and we saw it in the last endurance race here, where you get a lot of incidents. How did you find getting through that?
It wasn't too bad, you just got to sort of pick your line and sort of, you can see 4 cars going wide, and the guy on the outside is probably going to come off the worst, so you just sort of hope that, no one sort of spins in front of you, and, you just sort of get around all of it all, and I was able to do that in the first couple of laps.
Awesome, mate. Well, again, yeah, congratulations on 4th. You're doing everything you need to do to back up this championship again. And looking at the points now, or the calendar now, we head off to Phillip Island next week for another Enduro. So no doubt we'll see you boys back up again on the pointy end of that.
Yeah, hopefully. We didn't have the best round the other week there in the official, but I know Forsen's got a lot of pace out there in the Scop series, so I'm going to try and niggle myself out of him because he's got some genuine pace around there.
Fantastic. Well, again, mate, congratulations on 4th. Before we let you get out of here and before we hear the points from Bernie, mate, we better get a shout out from all the sponsors that you guys had on the car for tonight.
I'll just grab that pic. Unfortunately, my mouse isn't playing nice, but I got it. Thank you, Western Mazda, WP Concreting, Performance Sim Sport, Night Rider Designs, Motion Performance Exhaust Centre, and GDH iRacing Images.
You're so smooth, man. You go, wait, I've just got to get the picture up.
Yeah, I've practiced it a few times because, Danny didn't have a growl at me, but he liked me to get it right. And it's important that we got backing and all that because it really sort of lifts us and it gives us something else to race for other than ourselves. So we can do a good job, for the whole team, not just for the one person. It's a win for everyone. So even if Cooper won tonight, it wouldn't have really fazed me. I'd rather see, either myself or someone else in the team go out and do, the hard yards, and if it pays off, it pays off.
Yeah, definitely. No, it was a good race. I'm going to let you go, Marlon, and we're going to bring Cooper in for a chat. Nice talking to you. Great drive in that second race, and once you send me the points, I'll let the viewers know.
Thank you so much. I think I sent it to the RRTV broadcast, Ruth, but I'll send it to you at 5 p.m.
I'll have a look. Yeah, I'll have a look for it.
Oh, cheers, thank you.
So, folks, that was Marlon McMullen coming home 4th tonight in race 2. Let's bring Cooper Webster up, Daniel, and while I'm trying to find the points, you might have a chat with him.
Yeah, definitely. G'day, Cooper, mate. Congratulations. Race 2 winner tonight. Well done. Looked like you were in for a really good battle there with Brett Loxton early on.
Yeah, thank you. That was a good battle with Brett there. I was starting closer to the front in that second race there because I had a bit of incident in that first one and just finished in the top 15. I was only slightly quicker than Brett Loxton. We're both similar pace and we seem to have very good pace over the rest of the field. But it looked like he pitted a bit later and I got a more of a gap in the pit stop from my early pit stop. But yeah, it was a really good race with Brett and I.
Yeah, we were really keeping a good eye on the lap times that yourself and Brett were doing. And I think towards the middle stint and coming up onto your pit stops, you guys seem to have about a second gap over the rest of the field per lap. So that looked really good. And mate, from what we've seen last few weeks, especially for yourself, your pace has come on in leaps and bounds, and it's great to see up towards the pointy end. What have you found sort of being the key thing that's really helped click and get you up here at the more often?
I think more practice. Just keep practicing and practicing with around all the tracks and finding the little bits of spots on the tracks where you can find the small amount of times. And all the guys in PSS have really helped me with the Rd18 Supercar, helping me learn that. But yeah, just doing practice and trying to find those little bits on each track where I feel like Marlon and some of the other guys that have done a lot more experience have found. So me trying to catch up to them with all those, their experiences helped a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been great to watch, mate. It's really entertaining to see the pace and the skill come on as it has. Just from your sort of take at the start of the race, obviously starting a few grid spots down in sixth there, how did you find the opening couple of laps making your way through? I think you mentioned there was a little bit of contact early on. Was there anything that sort of knocked the car out of alignment at all?
In the second race, no, I've started P6 and I went down the first corner just trying to hold on the outside, and I was lucky enough for there to be a bit of a contact on the cars, two cars inside of me, and I got past them, and I think I was just lucky to pass a couple of cars around the outside of that turn one, but it worked out really well for me.
Oh, excellent, mate. Well, I might hand you over to Bernie, but look, great to see you get a win here tonight, and you're setting yourself up for a great championship position. So I'll pass you over to Bernie now.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Cooper. Awesome drive, mate. It was watching you through the pit strategy and all that, and it was quite a dominant performance. So you'd have to be happy with that.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the result tonight. I was spending a bit more time practicing this week for this. I really like Imola with all the small speed bumps, and that pit strategy worked out pretty well. I put it a bit earlier than halfway in the race, and I think I caught Brett out a little bit from him pitting a little bit later, and I pulled a bit of a gap out there.
Yeah, so we saw in race one there, I think you came home, what was it, about 11th or something, was that right?
Yeah, 11th, just outside the top 10. I was going pretty well before an incident with me and Michael Hammond at turn one. But I think that helped a lot for the second race, starting a bit further up for less cars to pass than, say, the guys that finished in the top of the first race. But yeah, if I hadn't have had that incident with Michael Hammond, I think it was, I would have been better off on points, but it certainly helped me for the second race.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. If once you had that incident, if it was in the back of your mind where you'd be starting in the second race, or were you too busy at that point to really worry about it?
Yeah, I did think about that, but I was just worried about making as many spots back up from where I lost after that spin for points for the championship.
Yeah, so once you got on the grid on race two, seeing you were coming off the second row there, what were you thinking at that point?
I felt like I had a really good chance for the win, to take the win in that second race. I just had to get past those cars in front of me really cleanly, because otherwise you have a little bit of a contact and it could bring their front alignment out, and then you're no good for the rest of the race. Well, you do have that, was it the quick repair? So, but yeah, keeping off other cars helps a lot, but I just had to be coming through cleanly.
Yeah, and you had a good battle there with Brett tonight in race two, and we were saying he pretty much got drive of the night tonight for his drive. What did you think about the level of competition you had with Brett there tonight?
I think the racing with Brett was really good, clean. There's no contact. He squeezed me really tight down to the turn one. I had to go up on the curb a bit. We're going really fast and just made it through. I thought he was going to block, but it was all clean. And then, I didn't pull away from him much after that, but I think I just caught him out in that pit stop. And then even after the pit stop, we were about the same speed. So, yeah, Brett and I were looking good compared to everyone else in the field.
Yeah, I think you guys are the only ones in the 143s at the start, but yeah, it was a good drive all the same, Cooper. Before we let you go, though, did you want to give a shout out to all your sponsors, mate?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Western, Mazda, WP, Concreting, GDH, iRacing Images, and Motion Performance Exhaust.
Fantastic. Well, once again, congratulations, winner of race 2, mate. You can go and celebrate with Marlon. It looks like he's still up in the green room. He probably hasn't stopped panting from that race yet.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.
See you, mate. I say Marlon's an old bloke. He's probably, 21 or something crazy.
Yeah, it's great to see these guys up towards the point. And as you said, start of the race, these guys are 1 and 2 in the championship, and given the solid results that they had, still going to continue this battle on. And we're sort of coming towards the end of the pointy season. The pointy end of this season. So, in that we've really only got 4 races still to remain after. Following on from tonight, so obviously we've got 2 Enduro still to come and then 2 150k sprints, so there's a lot of points still up for grabs, and with the consistency that both Cooper and Marlon have had for this season, I can see this battle going all the way to Bathurst for the final Enduro.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I don't have the sprint championship points here, folks, so we can't go through those. But coming into this, the overall drivers' championship, that's what we're looking at tonight. We had Marlon McMullen in first on 2,930 points. Second coming into this was Thomas Hinds on 2,800, and third was Cooper Webster on 2,505 points. But if we have a look now, and sorry about this, it's real pro, but it is what it is. So if we have a look now on the latest points just being tallied, Marlon McMullen is leading on 3,510 points. Cooper Webster second on 3,030 points. Thomas Hinds now moves down to third on 2,800 points. Jamie McKnight fourth and Kyle Stokes fifth. Now that's the overall, so I don't have the sprint championships, and I would suggest that's going to be a lot closer.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the 2 different championships in total here, but the gaps are sort of extended out a little bit further than what we probably anticipated at the start. But the top 3 now, when we look at it all said and done, still 700 points between them all. And as you said, 4 races to go. It's really open for anyone, depending on if they have a good or bad race there. So I think Cooper and Marlon will continue to push themselves on, and as I said, the team's going strength to strength, which is really great to see. There's also a chance too here. We could potentially see Jamie jump up into a third, and I could just imagine if that team managed to get the top 3 spots, they would be over the moon.
Absolute lockout, wouldn't it? And yes, they would be over the moon, and hopefully I'd get an invite to the after party, that's for sure. But also before we go, folks, last Tuesday night it was, the community got together to raise money for Maddie Torkins. Fantastic night of racing. Lots of money was raised, and big thanks to the community for that. But currently the campaign sitting at $13,425, and but it's not too late for you to donate. If you haven't, you can go over to the GoFundMe.com/Maddie Torkins. You can see that on your screen. Even if you can throw $1 his way, that'd be great. It's helping him with his battle with non-Hodgkin lymphoma cancer, so the money's going to him and his family to help them out while he battles this horrendous disease that he's got. So if you possibly can, you haven't donated yet, definitely go over and throw some money to that great cause.
Yeah, definitely, and as you said, 13,000 now currently raised. So it's great support from the community to get behind Matty there, and everyone's doing their bit to help him out, and his family and himself would be very appreciative of everyone that's been able to help and donate. Yeah,
definitely. And he's a nice bloke, a really nice bloke, well-loved member of the community. So, and that's one thing I like about our community is when someone needs a hand, there's always people around that will step up and give you that hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've seen a few things previously where everyone gets behind them. So, great community awareness to sort of help a man in need. And for something like this, no better way that you can help him right now than not only is the support, but anything you can help for family-wise to donate just a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, it certainly does. And folks, getting back to racing now, tomorrow night, Sim Races Asia is coming your way on RRTV, 10 p.m. GMT plus 10. We will have Scott Newton and Weehan Chan calling all the action. I'll be on the cameras, and Daniel, hopefully, maybe, possibly, no, you won't, because you're going to go to the movies. So I'll take that back.
Yeah, look, it's a possibility I may make it if the movies fall through, but it'll be a good race. Going to be at Silverstone tomorrow, and that championship's sort of starting to wind itself down now. I'm not sure where our current point standing is, but there's been some good racing all around. We saw last week at North Life, there's a few little incidents along the way, but still, the guys will fight it out towards the end, and they're still a champion to be crowned. So jump in and check that one out. And then I think we go to some skippies on Monday night, don't we?
That's right. Alex McKellar and the crew will be back Monday night, 9:15 p.m. GMT plus 10, to call all the action there, and they're getting massive fields to that Australian Strength of Field race, official race, and it's always great to watch that. And then Wednesday night we're back with the Australian Speedway League's Championship. We're coming to an end of that series as well. I think we've only got another 2 rounds running on that Wednesday night, and that will be being wrapped up as well. So a lot of our series now are starting to come to the end of their seasons, and so things will be winding down temporarily on RRTV, but they will wind back up once the series kicks off again.
Yeah, definitely, and plenty of racing out there for everyone to get involved with still, and we'll look forward to seeing you out there. And next week, another big enduro for these boys in the V8s at Phillip Island, so be sure to tune in and check that one out as well.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, folks, thanks for tuning in tonight wherever you are in the world. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the Australian Online Supercar Championship from Imola. If you can join us tomorrow night, that'd be fantastic. But if you cannot, that's fine. Well, I meant to say have a great weekend. That's fine. How stupid. Yeah, if you can't, have a great weekend, have a safe weekend, and hopefully we'll have your company back on RRTV again soon. So on behalf of Daniel Lead, I'm Bernie Weemers. Thanks for tuning in to RRTV, and good night.